Welcome to Divorce Planners, where we are going to take you state by state and help you understand the self-help in your state to begin the process of getting your own divorce finalized. I have 20 years experience within the family court industry, so this channel will also be educating the American people on the dynamics of that industry. Now, clearly, if you are looking to file your own divorce, you do not want to hire a professional that profits off of the hardship of your family using laws and statutes and rules that are created by them down at your local bar association. So on this channel, we are not attorneys and we do not give legal advice. We are here to guide people in the self-help process that your state provides to you in order to get a divorce. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we are going to go over the Alaska courts. And as you can see, here's our home page for the Alaska court system. So we're going to click on that. And then as you come across the tab, you see the self-help. We want to click on the self-help. And then as you can see, self-help represent yourself. So I strongly suggest that you would read over all of this information. And then I would go down here to family law. Now it does say it's a good idea to talk with a lawyer. And I agree with that. I believe that you should get the documents ready. I believe you should look at the documents. I believe you should fill out the documents. And as you are doing so, if you have any questions that you would like to ask a lawyer, I would suggest you write them down. So when you go in for a consultation, if that's what you feel you need to do, then you have your questions ready and you can stay on track with that attorney. Okay, so for now, we're going to go to family law. And as you can see, they have information here about their family law. You have forms, you have family law videos. I suggest you watch them. If you're trying to do custody without being married, I would suggest you look at this. If there's domestic violence involved, I would suggest you look at this. So here is everything. If you're looking at something here, I strongly suggest you look at the videos and see what the county is putting out for you. So the next step here would be we want to go to forms. Here are all the forms you can use. Here's the filing. These are just all the different things that you can do here under family law cases. Now I want to come down here because as you can see, they do give more information regarding domestic violence. And domestic violence is something that the divorce industry is not too they're not very qualified to work with domestic violence and identify that. We will get into that more in other videos I do, but for now we're going to stick to the state-by-state procedures on getting a divorce filed within your state or county. Okay, so in here we have the spouses agree on all issues, and this is a divorce or dissolution. Now, in Alaska, they do define that there is a difference between the two, which we will get into at some point here, and I will show you how to look at what you would need to look into to decide which way you're going with that. So this is for married people with minor children, and this would be your dissolution package. So here is the documents that you will need to do that dissolution. There is a cover sheet. You're going to need to open your cover sheet. And the beautiful thing about this cover sheet is this is telling you what you need to include in your divorce packet. So here's a checklist, which makes it very easy. I strongly suggest you print this checklist. And as you have completed things, obviously, you would check them off. This document looks like you can also just download it to your computer and do it on your computer. All right, so there's your first form that is going to be vitally important to have with you. Now we're going to go here and there are instructions. I would also strongly suggest you print the instructions and read through the instructions. In the state that I am from, when you read through the instructions, it gives you step by step, as it does here, on what you need to do next. You can also go from your instruction sheet and click on a document, and it will give you the document. Then you can just go in and start typing what you need to complete the document. You save it to your computer. When you're all ready, you print it off and you would take it down to your county courthouse. Okay, so here is a mediation information. Mediation is good. It explains what mediation is, and it explains who should attend and what the benefit would be of that. So if you have a couple things that are not resolved within your divorce, I would strongly suggest you look into going into a mediator and just hashing through those problems. My best advice is, as you are filling out there's a shared custody calculation here. My strong suggestion would be that you get everything filled out that you agree upon in all the paperwork required. And from that point, if things are not resolved, if there's a few topics that still need some work on to come to a full agreement, I strongly suggest at that point you meet with a mediator and see if you can hash those problems out. I would take in what you've agreed upon and what you still need to agree upon. The most important thing you'll need to speak with the mediator about is the issues you haven't quite agreed upon yet. Okay, as in all cases, you have to start something in order to have something opened within the county for any type of hearing. So that is when you would petition to the court. And that is what this document is. And this is the one that goes ahead and gives the fact of what you're trying to do here. Now, it looks like in Alaska, they go ahead and put their financial information right into this document. Some states, this is its own document. So you will be going into this document and putting in your federal, state income taxes, deductions. This is going to be everything that is your financial aspect to this divorce case, separate dissolution of marriage case. So here, obviously, they're doing Party A and Party B's incomes. You will need to have this all filled out. If it is complicated for you and you have an accountant, I would suggest taking it to your accountant. These are the things that they're licensed and qualified to do. Otherwise, you just got to kind of go through here, get your numbers as accurate as possible, and fill in the information. And then this gets into motor vehicles. They just need to know everything that's being separated within the property. A lot of people don't like getting into this, but the reality of getting a divorce or a dissolution of marriage is that all of this information is required no matter what state you live in. So you will need to hanker down and get this done. I suggest printing it, writing the information in, and then you can go back and check it. If something's entered wrong, you can cross it off and recorrect it. I'm just a hard document person. I prefer to have a hard document in front of me. Some people prefer to do it on the actual internet and then highlight things that still need done. Okay, so once we get through your alimony, now they want to get into the information of your family and the people that would be involved in this matter. So this is where you start to list children and more children. Then you come down here and you can start to write in your custody agreement. So this is what you agree on. Things that are not fully agreed on yet, I would highlight them as you're going through it, that those are things you need to work on. Otherwise, just as you guys are agreeing during this separation process, start getting the information in. And again, I would stick with anything that's agreed upon and getting it in. It makes it easier to sort through the rest of the issues that need to be resolved before you can actually file these within your county. This gets into healthcare. It's going to talk about who's going to carry healthcare, who's going to be responsible for extra medical, or how that's divided up. So you just want to get through this document and start filling out all the information here. This one, it looks like they're wanting to know if you'll be using child support services to enforce child support payments. And then there's an immediate income withholding. A lot of people that are doing this civilly and without lawyers can manage to get that money back and forth if there's a child support order and how much that child support order is. Some people might not feel as comfortable, and you might want to go ahead and get a case set up with your child support enforcement agency. Federal taxes, this is going to talk about who gets the kids which year for taxes and how that happens. So what you'll need to do is go through and get everything done. If you are a female and you are wanting your name restored, then right here is where you would do that. And then that will be part of a court order. If you do not do this at the time of your filing, this will be something that if you decide to do in the future will be a whole nother process. And you'll be required to do background checks, at least in my state. They do backgrounds. And it's a process. It takes a couple months to do. So if you are looking to restore your maiden name, you definitely want to get this done at this time. And then any other agreements that are not in your document, then you need to sign and get a notary done. Now, when in my state, Colorado, when you file and you go into the clerk's office, you can get it notarized there. So, and I would think that that would be pretty standard across the country, but you might want to find out before. Another place you can go to get notary done is your bank. If you guys are in full agreement and filing this, perfect. You can go in together and file it. I would suggest that because sometimes in divorce, people just aren't always acting on their best character. And so if you give it to one person and you've signed and notarized it, there is an opportunity that something could change in that paperwork before it gets to the county. If you fully trust somebody, then that's great. You can get your side notarized. They can go file. And then there will be filing fees that need to be paid at the time that you file. So we're going to come back up here. So here's your petition. I've opened these documents. We're going to come back up here to forms. And you'll see there's an information sheet. Usually this information sheet is just case information. It gives the information about the people that are going to be engaged in this action with the court. And then here is your shared custody child support calculation sheet. So here what you're going to do is adjust incomes. So on that document here, where you are entering this is your petition to the court. So where you are entering in all this financial information, you are going to be putting a lot of that information in here. This is a mathematical calculation, and it does pretty much on this side walk you through getting this done. Now, again, as I suggested with your financial statements to the court, if you do not understand this, if you have an accountant, they can do it for you. Maybe you can just go and speak to an accountant and hire them just to get this done for you if you are struggling through understanding it. That is what they are licensed, and that is their profession. That's what they do. So that would be my suggestion. The court is going to want this form. Whether or not you decide on child support, don't decide on child support, in Colorado, in our paperwork, it gives you the option of saying, yes, this is what the calculation says, but this is what we've decided to do. So you'll find that process as you're going through the forms if it's available for you. Next thing we're going to see is appearance and waiver of notice hearing. So what this is that you have read the petition in this case and agree to all the terms related to the custody child support visitation. You believe the maintenance is good and that it is fairly allocated. I agree that the petition constitutes the entire agreement of both parties. So this is basically a full understanding. And what you're doing is you're asking the court, you're saying, I agree with everything, and that you're not under any duress or coercion in signing this, and you're signing this because you're basically telling the court, I don't even know if we really need a hearing on this. And then the court will decide whether they want to set a hearing or just grant your paperwork. And then here's a couple other things for, this is your child support to open it with. This is the information about opening the child support with the state, and this is the application to do so. And then this would be your certificate of divorce or annulment that you would be getting from the courts. So that is the easy wrap up on that part. Now we're going to come back up here and we're going to go back to our court homepage. I'm going to close out some of these tabs here. Now I'm going to come back up and we're going to go back to self-help forms. We're going to come back to family law. And we're going to go to all the forms. And we're going to drop down here. Now you have, I wanted to go over the, okay, so we're back on. Now, if somebody files divorce and you get served, you're going to want to come here and get your instructions for responding to the petition, a complaint. They're kind of the same thing. So, filing for, here again is your documentation. And you just kind of want to come down here and look at everything that they are asking of you. Make sure you're somewhat familiar with some of the other documentation here. So as you noticed in this video, we have divorce and dissolution. If you come up here to the court's glossary and then hit on the D tab, we can see down here dissolution is right here. There's your definition of a dissolution, and right here is your definition of a divorce. So then you can decide which one you want to do, and Alaska makes it very easy because right here they give you another link to grab all those documentations. So as I look at this and what I'm seeing, and again, I'm not a lawyer, I do not give legal advice, but I am seeing that a divorce and a dissolution are the same. This is more when you're in agreement. This is uncontested. So this means everything's in full agreement. Here is a divorce package for people with minor children. So here's your complete instructions. Here is where you can download your Word files. We'll come back to that document when it's done loading. So as you can see, you're going to have pretty much a lot of the same things that you're going to have to go through here. And there's your case information sheet. So everything is readily available here for what you need. This is how to start your contested case. If your case is contested, I believe that you can get through mediation. The two of you can talk at mediation, see what all you can agree on. I strongly suggest to everybody who comes to my channel that you try to get an agreement. I understand there are things that prevent that from happening. So if you feel you need a lawyer, then you might have to proceed with a lawyer. Unfortunately, a lot of people will spend $50,000 in attorney fees to fight over $20,000. So at that point, you just need to decide what's best for you moving forward. Okay, so we're going to end our brief walkthrough on self-help in Alaska.